Lord Shiva set up his vast tribe, and the tribe was called Rudra. Of the 11 kinds of Rudras, the 11 factions of his tribes, one was called Rudra. Now, if you historically, or if you really look at Vedic literature and you try to go back, you will discover, as I've shared in the past as well, there were the Yakshas, there were the Rakshasas, and there were the Devas. And then there were the Manushyas. Manushyas came a bit later. So Lord Shiva was completely impartial. Lord Vishnu was the cousins of the Devas, and he wanted to support what was going to help humanity or existence forward. But Lord Shiva, on the other hand, said, look, that's not what I want to get into. I don't want to be concerned with presiding or running the show. You tell me whom to slay, I'll do that. Mara काम खत्म किया. दूसरे मुझसे बात करने की आवश्यकता नहीं. But humor aside, the idea of then basically he started people who were outcast, started seeking the refuge of Shiva, who did not really care about getting included in the Vedas. And Vedas at that time, or at the time, were the constitution of Bharatvarsha. So being included in the Vedas was akin to being included in the who's who of this country, which means you had won some kind of an Academy Award or Nobel Prize, and you were in there and you were documented, which means you were somebody significant to this country, this nation. Now, Lord Shiva said, that's not important to me. And Indra was very pally with Devrishi Narada. So Narada Muni had a huge role to play in ensuring who gets included in the Vedas. Now, all those people who had been shunned by society saw that here was a Mahatapasvin, a Mahayogi, somebody, a beholder basically of untold power, untold strength, who could move mountains, maybe literally. And that he held so much power, and yet he was completely impartial, unbiased. And he was very easy to please. When you had to go to, for example, Naga Baba, right? My guru. So there were other disciples around who would tell you what you need to take to him. You have to take a special kind of a pan, betel leaf, special kind of a mithai sweets, maybe some money, maybe other things, and that day's newspaper. Because he was in the village, so getting a newspaper was hard there. Similarly, for the Devas, there was quite a bit of criteria what you needed to have in place before you could get an audience with them. Lord Shiva, on the other hand, said, look, if I'm free and if you need me, I'll hear you out. But if I am in my samadhi, if I'm in my solitude, don't even think about it. And he held that throughout, even today, perhaps. Now, all those people who started getting benefit from Lord Shiva started singing his glories. His fame spread far and wide. He said, you don't know Sanskrit? No problem. I'll give you some other kind. Although he was the original creator of all the mantras, an absolute adept at Sanskrit and all the other languages, Prakrit and other that were predominant at the time. He said, but don't worry. If you don't know Sanskrit, doesn't mean you can't attain the highest good that's there in your consciousness.